That's a good way to start the video. I'm just coughing myself. All right. So, what's up, everybody? It's Saturday, May 30th. We're going to study some price action from this week. So, I want to be on the 2-minute chart on the main screen here. I don't want to lock the bar ratio. I want to be like that. Give me a sec now. How do I? Is it settings, template? There we go. Apply to all. Okay. That didn't work. That did work. Okay. And then indicators. Okay, so we should be relatively good to go there. We got everything on, all the usual suspects. So like VWAP, some automatic fib level or automatic indicator levels, etc., mid orb, which we bounced off of. So gonna work, or I've said, yeah, bounced off, or kind of rejected off of. Really here, here. Like it was just a very clear line in the sand. I also think that if we looked at volume profile, that ended up being the value area high for the day. All right. So what I want to specifically call out is really two things. And catching a good move, right? So context is everything. We can see we had this massive run up, and GC Gene took a trade that he asked me to cover here. So we're going to start by covering that. So he went long. He went long at 388.75. Okay. And this was at 9. So this was early in this candle, like right here. I don't want to magnetize. Come on. Man, we got to change the color on this bad boy. Settings, template, apply defaults. No, save as default 1. Orange is pretty bright. We'll go with orange. Yeah, we'll go with orange. Okay. Save as. Make sure I save it. Save. Yes. Okay. All right. So he went long, like pretty much right there where that arrow is. Gets wicked down. He takes a stop out. Looks like about 20 points lower, maybe 15. It looks like it's about 15 points lower. So that would have been 373. Pretty unfortunate. It's just like just below this candle gets swept and then it pushes up. So in an effort to try to figure out like how could you best avoid this from happening, I even went down to like the 5-second chart, and when I was talking to him and looked at how did this trade end up playing out. So simply put, though, what happened is if we look at there was a distinct range, right? And we have the pre-market high is on right here. But there was a distinct range that existed. Where would I find that one? I don't want fib. I don't want ABCD pattern, geometric shapes, rectangle. Okay. So from like this, like in this whole area, right, there was obviously a resistance zone, right? It pushes up, right? And they're just literally ranging it from just above the orb high to the lower below, just above the lower high to the lower below, right? Pushes down to the lower below. Again, when it can't break this after repeated times, and this is holding, right? And they just get a few wicks under here, but ultimately this area is holding. And we did technically push up and make a new high here. So this low was protected, all right? Well, it was swept, right? But it was ultimately protected. They stayed in here. It makes sense that it's going to push up. It breaks out of the high. So the shitty thing is that when we open, it did push down and then it popped back up. And then it came back down below the opening print, hit this same exact zone again. See, after he entered, and then it you know, and then it went up. There's really no way of knowing that. Honestly, there's been times where it doesn't even go down that far. And then there's times like this, and then there's times where it's going to go down and it's going to break the low and then it's going to snap back up. So the only sort of logical thing that I came up with, is to say, how could you potentially avoid this loss? And let me just make sure here. Okay, recording is good. Sounds good. Okay, I'm just double checking it. How could you potentially avoid this loss? The only thing I came up with was going down to like the 1 minute chart. And then looking on the 1 minute chart at essentially what is the first 5 minute orb, right? So there's people who use the 5, the 15, and the 30, and then allegedly institutions use the initial balance, which is the 1 hour, right? 9:30 to 10:30. And it comes up, you have 3 candles that move on its way back down, and then you finally get the candle that pops up. And then ultimately the the entry is really somewhere in here above this candle's high. It breaks up by like a tick and then it comes back down. But this is classic like 3-bar type look, because when this candle closes here, it doesn't do anything and then it goes. So like this is what like really good scalp entries setup look like. This works on the 2 and it works on the 5, and you see these setups on the 10 too as like very strong momentum. This plays out pretty well. And really it's that 3-bar play. And somebody I think else calls it like a 2-bar setup, where basically you have this one and then you have this one, and some people will enter above the break of the candle's high and the stop would go below the low. And that totally works, right? You would be risking about 20, 25 points here. And then, where's your target? If you went 1-to-1, you crush it, right? Like here's 1-to-1. It goes to 530s when we're talking about an entry at 427 or 430. So, this is a 100-point trade risking 20. You of course wouldn't know that, but if you just kept scaling and trailing along the way, let's say you get 80 of it, you still ended up with 4 times your risk on that remaining position. And that's where the concept too of like always in comes into play, which is like kind of Al Brooks's setup. Like it's essentially a version of candle by candle, or now aimbot, or Rob Smith's the strat. Like they're all kind of the same thing. You end up scaling out, or sorry, trailing out. You have to stop out when this 5 minute would flip, right? Although the 10 minute, the 10 minute was an exact flip, so the 10 minute was a good flip there as well. Okay, so that's my advice, is just like waiting after the 5 minute, right? And then when you see this candle comes back up and it's pretty strong, again, even if you entered here above this candle's high at 02, like you're risking 35 points to underneath the low. But they've already failed. They've already shown you they failed the breakdown. So like on the 1 minute, a super tight entry is here when this candle wicks back down, and then you have, maybe if you have a limit buy, whereas like when the price goes through it, you're in, that limit buy gets triggered and then you go. It sucks. Like this one just pulls back harder than you think it's going to, and that's totally fine. If we how can I do this? If we just mark out, like I'm just going to use this to mark the first 5 minute orb. Oh, come on. You do get like retests in here, push out, retest right here, push out. The 15 minute orb didn't do anything for you. The 30 minute orb showed the sweep here on the 1 minute. We'll go back to the 2. Yeah, because there's the 5, right? The 5 looking ugly on that inverted, where am I? Sorry. On that inverted hammer here, but it still ultimately breaks to the upside. So it's a failed breakdown. And wicks do the damage, bodies tell a story. That's like a 3-bar play on the 5, right? Just ignore the wick. It's a 3-bar play. Wicks do the damage, bodies tell a story. So many times it's just like, if you just ignore the wick and look at what the bodies did, you're pretty good. Like even here, looking at the wick, right? If you just look at the body on the 5 minute, it's like, well, we got a spinning top up here, which again, you have to have the wicks for a spinning top, but you just have really, really tight indecision after the orb high was broken. This doesn't look good. This looks like it's going to come back down. So one of the things that I wanted to do is look for, repeatable trading setups, trading strategies, that we can take. So now, I wanted to see how the 2-minute 20 looked like after an orb break, and I know that this was the good trade, and this was close, like when the EMAs first crossed. This was nice because it's like a break in base right under that mid orb. So, like if you drew a fib retracement, we're going from the low to the high. How am I supposed to see this now? What color are we gonna do this? No, yellow's no good. Purple. Purple's all right. We can rock with the purple. Template. Save as white chart. There we go. Okay. All right, so we can work with the purple. Pulls back down into the golden zone. Weak pop, doesn't break back over the high, and then continues to flush back down, right? Get out of the way. Get out of the way. So I wanted to see this one, and so let's look at that first. Concerning thing would be that there was an orb high here, orb high sweep at all-time highs, and then we come back down. So when we come back down, this is the 5 minute. The 5 minute close is okay. It's like this candle. So the 5 minute close is after it moves back down. Let me go to the 1. So I want to see, where does this 5 minute candle close? Right here. Okay. So at 77. 77. Let's remember 77. 5 minute candle closes at 77. Okay, so right here. Yes. My bad. 2 minute chart. I'm thinking of ninja charts. Like Ninja Trader shows you on the timer, it shows you when the candle closes, not when the candle opened. So yes, 10:08 means that this 2 minute candle closed here. 2 minute candle closed here. If you bought the interaction at the 2 minute 20, like just because it was there, 70, it drew down against you, 25 points. That's really tough. You probably would take the stop unless you waited to see what happened. And then in which case, again, I don't want to keep doing this, but it's this way. Yeah, then it wicks up, it wicks back down, then it curls back up. So the 2 minute was just really tough. So you might take the loss there. Yeah, because what does this give you? It gives you about 25, so it's like 1-to-1. So I would just say the context is everything. Because this one, I felt like I would take this repeatedly, even though I know that the orb low was broken. This one shows you more EMA respect than the other one did, right? Like that's why I don't want to get in like right at the first tap. I like to see what happens. And like this time where we actually hit the 2 minute 20 and then the candle closes here. I like the idea of getting in here short. I don't like the idea that this is 40 points risk, but you can adjust the sizing for that. And then the target is like the orb low. So here to here is also 40 points. So if we put on, can we do this? Can we do this? Oh shit. So okay, so that says the stop is 35 points. And then if the target's orb low, so it's a little bit over 1-to-1. So it's about 30. Yeah, it's about 35. 35 to 35. So it's 1-to-1. And if you actually went for the low of daybreak, it changes to 1.6. If you go to pre-market low, it goes up significantly to over a 3. But that would just be like if you held runners or whatever, and then ultimately, tweezer bottom here on this 2 minute, spinning top here on the low, right there. And it works. And pre-market low is essentially swept on the 10 minute and then it closes back below. So just like the 10 minute chart sweeps the high, comes back in the range. 5 minute chart sweeps the high, comes back in the range. 5 minute low sweeps the low, comes back into range. So good, if you're down to runners, move the stop up. This is a scale target every single day of the week. Pre-market low break is a scale trigger, especially in a super bullish market. And we know that. But you're also tapping previous day high. So anybody who is stuck now, maybe they had a short anywhere in through here. Would you rather close out your short for, if you didn't average down, would you rather close your short out in here for maybe anywhere between 20 and 50 points, let's say, after you were just down, 320 to 350 points? Absolutely, right? And so you're going to end up, they're going to start covering those shorts. Is going to add to the buying pressure, and then it pops back up, right? So I like this trade. I feel like this one is really repeatable because yes, we break the orb low, we come back up into the range. It's like a weak push back up, and then it comes all the way back down. The one thing I want to see is volume. I was looking at volume candles. This is pretty interesting. A lot of volume over the high and then followed by nothing. The volume is decreasing in through here. Pushes back. Let's go back to regular candles, and then let's put actually on the volume bars. Well, that's lame. What's wrong with these? Growing candles are blue. Falling candles are black. It's defaults. Oh, I got it. I can't. Okay, I guess I just only have the option of save as default. Okay. So what I want to see, I just want to look at the volume because I've been watching volume a lot more. Okay, so big volume on these two candles right near VWAP or blow break. No shocker there. The volume does decline a little bit, but not significant enough for you to take notice. Big volume on the orb high break, but then they get stuffed. So now people are stuck, and that adds to the selling pressure. Once their stop outs get hit below that 5-minute low and below the 10-minute low. That makes sense. So that's why the volume is increasing here on this way down. People are getting stopped out. Okay. So I would still take this one. I'm just gonna mark this one up. Can I just put like a what do I want to put? I mean, I look like I got all these. Hey, all right. Okay. Man, I got chopped up right here. Was not impressed with it. So I want to review this. I have a trade to review here. Been typing for 20 minutes. Well, let me see what he said first. First trade I took was looking at the low volume in those 80s to see the fake out first. I waited for it to fake out into the range and into the EMAs and then 70s because if I'm looking for 80s to hold, I hate getting wicked out in the 70s. Yeah, dude, exactly. I know what you're talking about right here. I thought about that same thing too, after the fact, and it's tough, but wait for it to come down, and then it's always better when it comes back up. Even still, buying in the 90s when that candle would have turned back to green was good. The problem is, I think when I went down to this one actually, I think did it does this wick down, wick up, wick down. Let me go back to the one because he entered at 934 and some change. So yeah, on 934 and some change, it actually we could probably go even lower. It wicks down and wicks back up. Can we go to the 10-second chart? We can. No, we don't need this square anymore. Get that out of the way. Let me get his exact entry from his DM. 934 and 33 seconds. 10-second stop out. 934 and 33 seconds. So right on this candle. So when the first thing this candle does, no, 934, not 933, Joe. You're an idiot. 934. So it wicks up, it wicks down, it turns back green, and then he enters here, literally right here where my cursor is, right there. So it sucks because the candle did wick down, it wicked back up, and then it wicked down even further, and it's just an unfortunate thing. It really is. It's probably not all that much different than around here where I got smashed out on one of these. Let me go to the trade journal. Okay. So I went long at 1103. And I was long at 62. So I was long 1103. I was long at 62. Like right in here. This is like a seconds chart. But anyways, you see what happens. It literally smashed me out by like just a couple ticks as it swept below these lows and it completely reversed. This was definitely the spot to like retake it. If I would have retaken it at 61s, and then I didn't do anything. I literally didn't do anything. I just sat there and I wallowed in self-pity like the Grinch. Damn, that shit sucks though. That was a really, really unfortunate stop out. Really unfortunate, bro. Right here. Damn. And I really liked it because what I saw is they flipped it back down, but then when they moved lower, they couldn't close it lower. And then I'm in at 1103. It was after this candle closed. And I'm in at like 60. So this candle closed. It actually comes back down. Like this buy isn't terrible. This is just what's terrible. Like how many times am I supposed to wait for this little area to get violated, you know? I'm going to look at one other thing. Yeah, neither time. It already had come back down to the 50. So truly, I should have just maybe set a bid order or something like that. I could say, okay, set a bid order, leave the bid order, and then wherever that bid order is, measure to like the 61. So if I wanted to risk 25 points, and the 61s right here is 17, let's call it 18, 25 points would mean I'm going to be bidding in at 43. Like, wow, a 43 entry is incredible here. It pushes up to where I would be thinking like right here where this heart is. I'd be thinking like this area. Like, yes, we have the multiple pivots here, but this area was definitely key because they wicked over and they couldn't go higher. Anyways, doesn't need to be perfect. There's upper wicks here in the 10. You're actually in like if we were to look at this coming from the other way, from the move from the high to the low, that's the 61 fib there as well. So scale to 50, scale to 61. I mean, it gave about, from that entry, it was about 90 points. Very solid. You get stopped on the trail or whatever, it's totally fine. Great trade. Great trade. I just executed it subpar. Mm-hmm. I know, dude. I know. But it does look so clean. It does definitely look super clean. Okay, so I got to reply back to him. So after that, it really just is freaking Chop City all day, and they just form a range. They're forming a range. They're still holding that golden zone from the top down. They fail to make a new low. They go back to that golden zone range. Unless there's a significant gap down, I would imagine that we're going to end up pushing back over this range. That's my thought. Because now it looks like they're trying to just hold it higher. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at another day. Can I, can I do this where it's, isn't there a way where I can get them to be like synced on the time? Yes, right here. Sync time. Oh, dude. Look at this shit. That's, look, all three of them are moving. That was pretty cool. Oh, it's like wherever I click. All right, we don't want that. That's actually kind of annoying. That's actually kind of annoying. I'm going to turn that off. Sync time. Okay. All right, be a little bit trickier here. So let's draw this out. Horizontal ray. All right, so we're looking at, here's your orb high. And here's the clone. Here's the orb low. Okay. Yeah, this one's very, very clear. Talked about this one before. A plus 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 plus. You get the reaction here. You can see how they're trying to sit on the pivot. Huge volume here on this stick. Like this was a news-based move. Man, everything just checks out for this one. If you drew a fib off of this little move, it is a little bit below the golden zone. If you went to the low here, it's not even at the 50. I mean, like, that doesn't really offer you a whole lot other than the fact that you see that they made this move down and then they're just buying. This is on the 5, the pivot to pivot look right here is fantastic. Like, everything about reading this price action is great. So you can see this is good. Background. Border. I don't want a border. I just want a shape. Okay. Template. Save as. White charts. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, this was really great. Really, really great. Really, really great. The 10-minute was especially good. Where it pulled back down, it popped back up. I mean, even if you didn't take it there. Come on. All of this was fantastic as well. Absolutely fantastic. Nice flag, right? Like in the orb, you can tell that there's bullish momentum. You know, there's no signs of strong selling. Yeah, really good. Really, really good. That's just pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Two opportunities. So after you see this one defended, you can get in here and you're good. It pushes up. Second 2-minute 20 interaction here. Let's see the second 2-minute 20. A little bit slower paced. So second one was probably like right here. But you're not wrong until like below this pivot. So, okay, that's about 20 points. That's not terrible. 20 points, let's say 25. Why did it do that? Why is it going to that? Oh, it's going to wherever. Okay. Oh, okay. So I see. So if it went to like when it breaks the high versus if it was to break this low, well, it's actually pretty good. That's a RR over 2. That's actually pretty good. If you that's assuming you got a really good entry though. So let's take that assumption out. Let's assume you got in like here. That's still pretty good. And if you were really good, right? Like what do we have here again? The Robbie special, if you will. So we have this like nasty 2-minute hammer candle here. where sellers tried to do like the fake out and they got steamrolled, they got run over. So this is a very clear, very obvious stuck seller candle. What happens as soon as they're interacted with buying pressure? If you simply just identified where are stuck sellers and look at the market from a oh crap sentiment, here they are, right? There likely is probably some that are right here. Oops, I want to do that. I want to do. Let's try something too, as we're just reviewing. Let's see what happens when this is interacted with. Can I text coordinates? How can I do anything else? Can I just extend this to the right? Extend. Extend to the right. Damn, that's easy enough. Okay. So let's just look at like what happens when this is interacted with. And then there's got to be a faster way to move over. Nothing. We haven't even touched it yet. Oh, okay. Let's watch that. Let's just keep that sucker on there. We'll see what happens. Let's go back. Come on back. Come on back. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay. Really good. Stuck seller's candle. Pretty straightforward. That's a great trade. You can take off like, 80 to 90% of your position. You leave break even, or maybe you go, let's see, you're in it, let's say 57. Let's say you were in around there. You targeted the high. You got it. That's a 1.5. That's cool. It went even higher. How much you really want to give back, right? Maybe you put your stop under this pivot, and then they pull back, and you put your stop. Then after that pullback, you put your stop under this pivot, and then it goes, and then it pulls back, and it pushes. Then you want to put your stop probably under this pivot, 98. They almost stop you out. So maybe they stop you out at 98 unless you moved anything, and you get a little bit more than the original scale, unless you decided to just take it off because you're like, damn, that's another 40 points, and you trailed your stop a little bit more aggressively under one of these candles lows or whatever. But at that point, it's like you can't go wrong, right? I mean, you can't go wrong. Like, you're at a runner, as long as you don't give back. Like, as long as you don't let once you've pushed away so far, because this probably puts you up. Yeah, this puts you over 3, right? So that's over like double. That's over double where you're at, because that was 93. You were entered in 56, 37 points. So yeah, once you get over like that, you've doubled your RR here. You don't want to be giving back anything back into the green box. You want to be locking in more as you go, because then at least it helps skew this in your favor. And yeah, great looking trade, great looking scalp. After that, you're really fighting for peanuts. They do create a little micro range, which is tough. It would be kind of tough to see. Oh, come on. So I got to click on the edges to activate it. Okay. It's a little bit different than Thinkorswim. You have this peak here. You see they have this wick down. The same thing, right? Really, it's kind of like this is your zone. This is your zone area here. We can get rid of this RR. They push into it once. They push out again. Oops. Again, they make a new high. Yeah, objectively speaking, if you wanted to, when you see the interaction of this price zone on a horizontal price level, and then you have this candle that flips, you would then need to be entering in here, risking this low, which is a 20-point stop, and high of day target, 30 points. That's still 1.5 to 1. Okay. Yeah, a little bit more than 1.5 to 1. Okay, clear as mud so far. Before I continue on, I'm really focused on the orb. The orb, the first 2-minute 20 interaction. Yay. After that. Okay. Increase the speed at which this scrolls. So like, what if I control click? Nope. That's actually way faster, just like Mouse wheel, scroll out and in. Okay. Boom. Orb high. Boom. Orb low is here. Okay. Orb is set. Orb is set after this candle. First 2-minute 20 interaction after the orb is set. Money. Second orb interaction. Money. Works on both the upside and the downside. So money. Clone. Money. I don't know why money. I'm putting a heart there. All right. So let's think about this though. Huh. What did I do? All right. This one is especially good. I remember this one on stream. I remember saying, I think I'm going to take this short, and it dropped. Oh, damn, this one dropped hard. This is like a 50. If if you're getting in when the candle's red and you're risking that candle's high. So let's go a little bit above the candle, right? The candle stop is here. Let's go another like 5 points or so above it. Ultimately, if you targeted the orb low, it's considerably more. But I mean, you would most definitely want to scale out here. I would really probably target this pivot. Objectively speaking, I would really think that like anywhere scaling in here in this area is ideal, right? But which you're going to hit on the second candle. I mean, you're going to be up. So you're going to be up fat. If you're just worried about how much you're risking and not having it being a negative RR, the logic still applies. Now you get the same exact thing just a few minutes later, where it pushes up into the 2-minute 20. It shows rejection. You get a doji indecision candle there, right? And then it starts to drop. And when it starts to drop, if you did the same thing again, where you enter just as the candle turns a little bit red, maybe, so your stop would be, this would be 26 points. Let's expand this to, let's go 35. From here, your first scale trigger should be there. That's more than 1-to-1. More than 1-to-1 is good because the math behind the trade is, as long as you're winning more than half your trades, you're winning. If you consider equal sizing risk, etc. Then whether you took this one and you moved your stop up, I could see how most people would be stopped out of this one. 66, let's call it entry. You come down here, you're up 80 points. Are you really giving back 70 of it? No. So you get stopped. Maybe you put your stop at the high of this candle, which is fine. So you got 66 to 30. You got 35 points here. You're still yeah, you'd still be giving back 45 points. That's a lot. This candle doesn't look like much, but these are some big candles. So not logical. That's fine. Okay. But you get a chance to hit it again. So when you get the chance to hit it again, okay, do the same thing. Well, I'm going to target that same low that we had. But objectively speaking, hey, wait a second. We just made this like lower high, came back down, cracked a little bit lower. Now we're putting in an obvious lower high again. We're cracking lower. Objectively speaking, like, yeah, safe wise, takes them off here. We should break the orb low. So for the portion of your contracts that you don't take off until you get to the orb low or near that area, the risk reward jumps all the way up to over 2.5, which helps you, hold and get a little bit more. Yeah. Then you get the orb low break, obvious sweep candle here. 10-minute closes under the orb, back into the orb. Yeah. Oh man, this was gross. I remember all this. This was the initial balance low right here. This is the initial balance low. And you can see that's the 1 hour orb. So the 1 hour orb was different on this particular day. And this is the 5 minute. I want to do something else. 5, 10, 15. Clone. That's I'm just going to draw that. That's obviously the 15-minute orb. So 15-minute orb is broken, pulls back. From orb high to orb low on the 30. That was a golden zone pullback. On the 15, it was also golden zone pullback. So it doesn't matter if you're using the 15 or the 30 there. It's a golden zone pullback right there. That one was pretty awesome. Again, if we go and watch this, if we watched it on replay, it's like stalled. The replay on TradingView, I have to say, is pretty awesome. Like, it is so lightning fast, and it would just like take you right back to the point. But the problem is that it doesn't show you the actual prints within the candle. It's just kind of like the candle just is like appears. Whereas like Ninja is every single second the price is updating when you actually download and load it, which download it and then you play it, which is nice. So I would still use that if I really wanted to look, but I remember this one very vividly from stream being like, I think I'm going to hit the short, and it was like, whoosh, there goes the floor. Bummer. Okay. And that's one of the things that continues to happen to me often, as I just need to hit it and then discuss it afterwards or say something afterwards, because sometimes just explaining why I want to get into the trade, that time that it takes to explain that when I see the price action unfolding results in me either missing the trade or getting a worse fill. So I don't want to do that. Somebody's in my driveway and I don't know what they're doing. Sorry. Let's see if there was anything else like really viable. Like you can see, right? The market structure is important to call out. Okay. Pushes back. Comes down to here, right? They make the high, they make the lower high, they push back down, they cannot break the orb low. Or so they can't, like, they break the orb low, sorry, but they can't break low of day. They snap back up to the other end of the range. They wick over the high, pretty nasty if you ask me. And then they come back down, and again, even though they wick, I think they wicked like just a tick. Let's zoom way in here. Yeah, look at that. 3 ticks below that low on the wick. And then they end up, what do? They snap back up into the range. So clears one side, clears the other side, runs it almost all the way to VWAP, comes back down. The low holds with actually technically a higher low, just barely. Yep, and then they just cooked it up the rest of the day into VWAP. So that was pretty gnarly. This whole thing was pretty gnarly. Range near the low. Okay. So that was Wednesday, and we got Tuesday, and then we're done. We're done, and then we can see what we got from there. Okay. So Tuesday will be a little bit trickier. So this encompasses all of the holiday as well. So let's start with like orb drawings. Orb low. Whoa. No. Orb low. That's the 10 a.m. candle. So there's orb high. So this one's tougher. But one thing for sure is oh, okay. That's the Okay, perfect. This is the 15-minute orb high. So 15-minute orb high, first interaction with the 2-minute 20, it goes. What's this is also, yeah, because all of that was like the prior day and stuff. So this is your pre-market London session high bounce. A lot like what we saw on Friday. Very much so what we saw on Friday. So here's pre-market high, 2-minute 20 bounce after a trend shift. So key level, 2-minute 20 interaction after a trend change. I say trend change because look how they broke under it. The EMAs had crossed, then they recrossed back, showing you a failed bearish breakdown. Oftentimes there's nothing more bullish than a failed bearish breakdown. If you look at where were they trying to break down, they bounced off of the London orb high. If I'm not mistaken, somebody posted in chat taking an L right here. And I would say this, like if you took an L right here, why would you, like, I would ask this, why would you think this is a viable short? On the 5 spinning, candle there, right? This, whether you use the 5-minute orb or if you just look at like simple price action, we knife down, then we put in a hammer candle on the low. Why are we doing that? We also, on the 10-minute, very, very, very important to call out, 10-minute 200. Time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. That 10-minute 200, big trend confirmation EMA gets interacted with right here. Ooh, I can do this. Gets interacted with. And then we bounce. So here, this area in particular, this area right here, is not a viable short anymore. You see, like, this is an inside candle, and then you get like the body's inside again. Look at that doing. They're closing higher, it rockets. You are stepping in front of a freight train here, and they have no understanding. Like, we don't know where this is going to stop and if it's going to stop, and it never stops. In fact, that, like, if you just got in here and you were like, yeah, I'm short, the only way you're getting out of this trade is when your account blows. Like, that's it. You're never gonna see green on this. I remember personally feeling indecisive about this and being like, what are they doing? I need to wait. And then the money is made in the waiting, right? The money is made. It's made right there. This is cool. Oh, shit. I gotta remember to hold down the Alt key. This is cool. Boom. Money's made right there waiting. That's fun. Outside the orb, this one sucked. 5-minute gravestone doji there, right? Inverted hammer at the top. 10-minute tweezer top followed by a trend, a trend changing candle. 10-minute tweezer top, it actually pushes up into the body. Looks pretty weak, and then it comes back down. I don't like this at all. This is too strong. This is not showing any sense of strength. If this had actually closed up higher, it would have been okay. What was this? This was Tuesday at 10:48 a.m. What was Tuesday's date? $26th? No, 25th? 25th. Yeah. Yep. Okay, I remember this one. So this candle here, I took an L on this one, and so I remember why. Let me show you the picture. So what happened is this candle had already snapped back up, And I thought that we were seeing the buying off these lower wicks. And then it just ended up rolling all the way back down. So that one sucks. But what I'm going to ingrain in my memory here is this, that when we see something like this wick to wick over here, why is it like, that's weird. So when we see that wick to wick over there, right? Like they wicked out of the zone, they're trying to push higher, and they fail, and then these ones get rejected. I really thought that we were going to hold in this particular area. See, now I got to switch it back. That's annoying. Then instead they don't. That happens. Honestly, it happens. We were just very extended from the 10-minute EMAs too. Very, very extended. And the trend was so strong all this way up, and then it wasn't. It was like so strong on all the way back down too. This happened. Oops. This sort of like strength on the way up, and then it just was like it flips and strong all the way back down. Is that not very similar to? Can I reset chart for you? Yeah, this Friday. Okay, yeah. This is exactly what happened on Friday. Like very strong on the way up, 2-minute 9, 2-minute 9, 2-minute 9, right? It's not even touching it. It's like there's a space. Then once it knifes, it's all the way down. And it was strong. It was fast on the way down. Whoa. Okay, let me go back to Tuesday really quickly to wrap this up. Damn. What else did I take on Tuesday? I took a scalp at 24. Okay. Yep. I tried to play the long off of this candle. I saw that they wicked down, so they closed back up inside this range. Oops. What day did this get moved to now? What the frig? Oh, we went. Oh, and all the charts went back to the beginning. That's a pain. Is this where I am? Yeah, right here. What a pain. Hold up. Oh, show requests. I approved it. There we go. Hello, Shiny. What's up? So let me just finish this. So let me just finish this real quick. Finish this thought before I lose it. It's right here, right? Yes. Yeah, so we were just under the orb. I saw them wick back down. I took this long. It was not a 2-minute 20 tap, but when obviously they came back down, they rejected some more. I really did just think that it was some of this old supply here that was holding, and then looking at this like on the 5, really just pushing off of these bodies again was my thesis. Was, hey, we come back down, we hit these bodies, and you see they were trying to hold it. Ultimately, it went a little bit lower, but so this candle closes at 11:20. Yeah, and then the bodies just keep moving lower. So I should have hit the short. I should have hit the short on the pullback, but this was still a decent scalp, and it's been such a bullish market that that's what I was mostly counting on. So that's that. All right. You can use replay to go a particular bar so you're not struggling to scroll. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. That is true. That would be easier. I could just be there and then I could just step them forward. You're right. Then it would just, if I went like this, right? they would all jump to pretty much here. Ah, thank you. Thank you. Super fast. Thank you, Shiny. Appreciate it. All right. So that pretty much wraps up everything that I wanted to discuss in regards to like an NQ price action review for the week. That's already like quite long. What do we got? 55 minutes. Holy smokes. You guys got any questions for me before I just wrap this up? I know, Shiny, I don't know if you wanted to say anything else or you dipped off voice. Okay. All right. Yeah, I will eliminate a whole lot of time scrolling by using that replay tool. Thank you very much, Shiny. You know what? I have free time. I'm going to stop this recording right here and then we'll do it. I'll do an ES one. So hold the phone.